Alright, guys, what's going on? Welcome to episode 3 of the Armchair Armdrager podcast. I am your host, Ben Hersick. We had a busy week in pro wrestling. Best of the Super Juniors is still going on. There's a new title announced in WWE. They're still talking about that. Double or Nothing is this Saturday, and Money in the Bank came and went, and we have a recap of everything. But first, be sure to follow me on Twitter at ChurroSolider, ChurroSolider. I write stuff for All Things Combat. You can find us on Twitter at Things Combat. I will be doing a live tweet of Double or Nothing, which is hopefully going to be a good show. You can read all of our stuff at allthingscombat.com, where we post articles about pro wrestling, a lot of WWE stuff, New Japan here and there, probably a bunch more AEW going forward. We've had Progress, we've had a couple other promotions. We also have articles on MMA, where we cover UFC, Bellator, and Risen a few times here and there. As of course, we also cover boxing. That's all Josh's category, so he worries about that part. And you can follow this podcast at Podcast Armchair on Twitter. So, real quick, best of the Super Juniors catch up. We are at the halfway point of the tournament, folks. We're halfway to the end, and two guys have still not lost a match. So, real quick, A block is Shingo Takagi with 10 points, Taiji Ishimori with 8, Dragon Lee with 6, Jonathan Gresham with 6, Marty Scurll with 4, Tiger Mask with 4, Sho with 4. I've been saying his name wrong the whole time. It's Teton. So Teton has 4, Yoshinobu Kanemaru has 4, and Taka Michinoku is still sitting at 0. I kind of feel like he's going to get a couple points here or there. He might beat Kanemaru. He might be the one to upset Takagi. I don't see it, but I'll talk about that in a second. In B block, you have El Phantasmo leading the way at 10, Ryusuke Taguchi at 8, Will Ospreay at 8, Robbie Eagles at 6, Yo at 6, Bandito at 4, Bushi at 4. I've been saying this guy's name wrong too. It's Doki, not Douki. So Doki's at 2, Rocky Romero's at 2, and Ren Narita is still at 0. Ren Narita has looked impressive in this tournament. I can say from the clips and bits and pieces I've seen of days 4 onward to, I want to say we're at 8 now, I believe. Yes, we are at 8. Yeah, because 8 happened this morning. We've seen a lot from Ren Narita. He looks great. He has to go on a shirt at this point. At the end of this tournament, I still think he's gonna beat Bushi on the final night. I have a feeling in my gut he's gonna get it. But still, Doki probably is only gonna get 2. Still, everybody else still has a good chance to get some points. Phantasmo, it'll be weird. If you have Shingo Takagi and Phantasmo win the blocks, the two newest guys in New Japan next to Robbie Eagles, and they're the winners of Best of the Super Junior. Where's the vote of confidence in the guys that are always there, like Marty Scurll, like Sho, Yo, Ospreay, Bushi? It would say a lot, but I wouldn't be surprised. Shingo has had this thing where he's undefeated still. Technically, he's not been the one to take the pin in the tag matches. That was Bushi. So at some point, he's going to suffer a defeat. And looking at his remaining matches, his last 4 are against... Where are you? He has Taka Michinoku tomorrow. He has... Where is he? Tiger Mask on night 10. Night 11, he has... where are you, Shingo? Jonathan Gresham. And night 13, he has Taiji Ishimori. Right now, Ishimori is the only one within striking distance. They would need Dragon Lee, Lee and Gresham are the closest guys after that. Lee makes the more sense because Gresham's still a young guy and he only seems to be there to be a spot in the tournament. And he's looked good. Don't get me wrong. Some of these matches have been great that I've seen. Sho has looked fantastic, and we all know how good he can be. I'm curious if they're going to have Yo have a better tournament than Sho. And then you can see some tension in Roppongi 3K where he knows he's better than Yo, but Yo had a better tournament, so therefore people think Yo is better. You see some anger in Sho, and Sho turns. It could happen. I don't know. I'm also curious if Kanemaru's going to get a run. Because Kanemaru, he's got back-to-back victories. He beat Ishimori today, and he just beat somebody. I gotta look through my notes. He beat Sho on night 7, which I actually predicted right. I got that one right. I'm actually having a good tournament overall. I haven't done the math yet from this morning, but as of right now, going back from the day before, so before this morning, I was at 31-9 for the whole tournament. I picked Teton to get the win, which he did, I think. This morning was Teton versus Dragon Lee. No, this morning was Teton versus Taka. So yeah, he won. Phantasma won. Bushi won. I think. No, Bushi lost. Gresham won. I don't know. It's a lot of math. I had to figure it out. But right now, 31-9. That's a good record to go. B Block is a little weird. Phantasmo's remaining tournament is... See, he had Red Narita this morning. His remaining tournament is Rocky Romero, Yo, Taguchi, and Doki. Can Doki get him on the final night? I could see it. I could see Yo pulling an upset. It might come down to Taguchi, which would be weird because of my introduction to New Japan. I don't know serious Taguchi. I've seen serious Taguchi this year, and I'm enjoying it. I think this is a really nice Taguchi to see, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to catch Phantasmo at this point. Ospreay is still sitting there at 8. Ospreay's remaining tournament is a lot easier. He has Ren Narita. He has Robbie Eagles, Doki, and on the last night he has Taguchi. Taguchi versus Ospreay could be our main event for the winner of B Block, where the winner would probably face. Now it looks like it's gonna be Shingo. I could still see them actually doing now a time limit draw between Shingo and Ishimori, but we'll see. So that's the best of Super Juniors catch up. Before getting into Money in the Bank and that new title, quick Double or Nothing picks. Double or Nothing is the first official. All In was a great event, but it wasn't AEW brand. This is the first official All Elite Wrestling brand special event or pay-per-view. It's live from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. I know a lot of people are traveling to it. It's going to be a fun show. It's got a lot of potential, I'll tell you that much. They're giving us 2 pre-show matches, which you can see for free on TV. I know at least in England you can. Because one of our other writers, David, was talking about how it was on, I won't say it was ITV4. Don't quote me on that. But I think it was ITV that has the deal with AEW in Britain. Or the UK in general. Excuse me. It's going to be a fun show. And the pre-show is free. Main show is $60, so we're back to the old school WWE days where you had to pay for every pay-per-view and you don't get it for $9.99 a month. We've been spoiled, lack of a better term. So the pre-show matches, you have Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara, and you have the over-the-budget Casino Battle Royal. As far as Sabian versus Guevara? Guevara. Bleh. It's a tough call. Guevara is a very flippy guy. He enjoys flying around. Kip Sabian seems to be the kind of guy that wants to wear you down and keep you grounded. So it's a good clash of styles. They're 2 not as well-known names, but big enough names. I'm going to go with Guevara simply because of the fact that I think you want to have that big underdog win at the beginning of a show. And you have people still coming in, and they see this high-flying guy win by flying all over the ring. They're going to be like, oh, we're in for a fun night. So the over-budget Casino Battle Royal, the winner is one of two people who are into the championship match for the All Elite Wrestling Championship. And here are the participants. I actually have this tab open this time. We have Sonny Kiss, Brandon Cutler, Ace Romero, Glacier from the old WCW days, Brian Pillman Jr., Brian Pillman's son, for those that can't put two and two together, Sunny Days, MJF, Joey Janela, Dustin Thomas, Billy Gunn, Jimmy Havoc, Michael Nakazawa. I'm gonna guess I got that right. Jungle Boy, Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Queen, Luchasaurus, Sean Spears, the former Ty Dillinger, and 4 still to be announced wrestlers. At this point, I'm recording this on the Thursday, so we have 2 days before the show. I think they're going to keep those 4 a secret. And we might see, so here's how this is going to work. The Casino Battle Royal, you're going to have 5 guys start this match. I'm assuming it's over the top rope. Give me 2 seconds to check that. 21-man Casino Battle Royal. Nope, doesn't say. I'm assuming over the top rope then. You start with 5 guys. After a certain amount of time, I don't remember the exact amount of time, 5 more come in. And then, so you'd have 1 through 5 start, 6 through 10, and then you'd have after that, another extended period of time. You'd have 11 through 15, another extended period of time, 16 through 20, and the last person got lucky number 21. I'm pretty sure we all know who's going to be number 10. It's going to be Sean Spears. But I could see them doing one of the 4 in each group, or saving the biggest one of the 4 surprises for number 21. As far as winners go, there's 5 names that kind of stand out. Sean Spears, obviously, with his past as Ty Dillinger in WWE. Brian Pillman Jr., MJF, Joey Janela, and Jimmy Havoc. Those 5 are big-time contenders for me. I think the winner's facing either Chris Jericho or Kenny Omega, so you got to have a big name. This is where the unknown comes in, and it's tough to predict an unknown. I got lucky once because of inside information I saw where the old 2009 Royal Rumble poster originally had Edge on it, like as the cover star instead of like the whole crowd of people. And I was like, well, Edge is probably going to come back and win the whole Royal Rumble match. And he did. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a genius. I was like 13, 14. Didn't know any better. But it's tough to even think about who it could be. There's so many names on the independent scene. It could be Marty Scurll for all we know. He could wrestle in the Best of Super Juniors, quick fly over to Vegas, compete in the Casino Battle Royal, win the whole damn thing, fly back to New Japan to compete in the rest of the Best of Super Juniors. I could see that happening. I don't think it's going to happen, but I could feasibly see it happening. But of the 5 I said, with Spears, Pillman Jr., MJF, Janela, and Havoc, I would think Sean Spears would make the most sense, because then you can put him in the ring with a Chris Jericho or a Kenny Omega, and you could show the world just how good Sean Spears actually was and the talent that WWE just let go. Which would be very interesting, and I would actually love to see Sean Spears get a World Championship match in his second night, probably. They'll probably have the World Championship match at Fight for the Fallen in Jacksonville. I'm going to assume, but we don't know just yet. So then we get to the main card. The first match that was listed was Best Friends Trent Beretta, or just Trent, or just Beretta, and Chucky T versus Angelico and Jack Evans. This one's going to be fun. Beretta and Chucky T are more classic style wrestlers. They're a really good tag team. They have a nice little chemistry going where they just support each other through everything. Angelico and Jack Evans will just fly around, do all the crazy moves that everybody wants to see. I'm going to go with Best Friends simply because of the fact that you want to establish a tag team division in a new company, you would want maybe the best tag team that some people might not have heard of or that a lot of people know already and have them win. Because to be fair, before All Elite Wrestling, I had never heard of Jack Evans. I've heard of Angelico. I've loved Angelico. I have not seen enough of Jack Evans to be a fan yet. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, but I'm just not there yet. I've been a fan of Beretta since finding him in New Japan. I've watched some of the stuff with Roppongi Vice, with Rocky Romero. I've seen some of the stuff with Chucky T. Beretta's going to be a big-time player. So it'll be very interesting to see this match. I'm going to go with Best Friends, though. Next, you have a match with it's a 6-woman tag, and I know I'm going to get at least 5 of these names wrong, and I'm going to apologize right now. So you have the team of Aja Kong, Yuka Sakaz... Oh, God. Sakazaki. Sakazaki, I'm going to say. And Emi Sakura, or Sakura, I can't even read my own handwriting sometimes. That's Sakura. Versus Hirara. Oh my god, these names. Hikaru. Again, I can't read my own handwriting. Shidaya. Rio. And Ryo Mizunami. I picked the team with Aja Kong simply because I knew who she was. These 6 are probably going to have a decent match. I'm not expecting too much because of the final 5 matches, if I can count right. Nope, 6. The final 6 are going to be very interesting. So this one might not get a lot of time, but it'll still be a lot of fun. And then you have for the AAA tag team titles, you have the Young Bucks defending against Pentagon Jr. or Pentagon Zero or Pentagon El Cero Miedo or Pentagon El Cero M. I don't know what he's going by these days. He has a whole bunch of names. And Phoenix. I'm taking the Young Bucks because this is their promotion. I'm not picking them just simply because they're the booking guys for this promotion. I'm going to pick them simply because they won those titles. They just beat Pentagon and Phoenix for them. And it would be really weird to just see a drop title right away, which I don't think could happen. And I say this one to be great. These 4 just get tag team wrestling. Penta and Phoenix, to be fair, get individual singles wrestling as well. I'm just not the biggest fan of Phoenix, to be fair, so I give the guy a lot more flack than I probably should. But I don't see them getting their titles back just yet. Then we move to the women's match. You have Britt Baker, DDS. She is a licensed dentist. Versus Nyla Rose versus Kylie Ray. Now, she's different from Kaylee Ray, who's wrestling for NXT UK. Kylie Ray is a nice little spunky girl who's a lot of fun to actually watch in the ring. Nyla Rose is the powerhouse in this match. It's going to be a lot of Ray and Baker trying to stop Rose. I'm taking Baker partly because of the women's division they have right now outside of B. Priestley. I'm very surprised they don't have on the card yet. But outside of Priestley, Baker is the next best women's wrestler they have, in my opinion. Allie's a close third, but again, they're not on the card, so it's tough to really talk about them. So again, this match is probably going to get a lot of time. I'm expecting it to be good. You have 3 very talented women's wrestlers, and I can't wait to see them. I'm just curious exactly how they're going to go about it in the card placement. Do you start with the fast-paced tag team match? Do you start with the women's triple threat? Or do you have one of those possibly be the bridge to the main event? It would be a tough position to be in general, but I think they would go with this match relatively early. You get the women's division out there, you get them noticed, especially by a crowd at the beginning of the show, and they're like, these are 3 women we can invest in, which would be very nice to see because these are 3 very talented women, like I said. And I want them to build a big women's division, a great women's division, And I really hope it's the case because there's a lot of talented women that people just don't see out there yet in the wrestling world. Um, this was supposed to be Adam Page, Hangman Page versus Pac, but due to Pac pulling out because the original plan for Double or Nothing was for Page to go over on Pac because they want to build Hangman Page as the next star in professional wrestling. And to be fair, he can be. He is a fantastic wrestler. He has looked great in almost every match I've seen. He took Okada to the limit, and he beat Minoru Suzuki in the G1 Climax. Not many people can say they've beaten Minoru Suzuki in their debut G1 Climax. That's a great feat for Page, and it's going to be a big playing point in his future. And he's right now got a mystery opponent. They're not going to put Hangman Page into the 21-man battle royal. There's no way. He has to have a singles match. The question is who, and I don't care who it is. I don't care if it is Jon Moxley. I don't care if it's TJP, Hideo Itami, or somebody else I'm just blanking out on. Scott Steiner, Hornswoggle. I don't care who it is. Hangman Page is going to go over simply because of the fact that he's the next big thing, and he is going to look damn good doing it. And I cannot wait. Next, we move to SoCal Uncensored, which is Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. Got that one right. I almost forgot him. Versus Strong Hearts from Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, which is another company like AAA that All Elite Wrestling has a working relationship with, which will be the team of Seema, T-Hawk, and L. Lindemann. I took Strong Hearts simply because of the fact that I think they want to build up this working relationship. They want to make it a big thing. And I look at this as them saying, here's one of our better teams, essentially. Let's have them have them go against your best team. And then we can work it out so that way your guys look good, our guys look good, but your guys get the win. And continue to work on this relationship going forward. And it's going to be very nice. You don't hear a lot about wrestling from China where OWE, is actually based out of. But I look at this as now we have a chance to, see just what these guys can do. And I'm very excited. I've seen stuff from Seema back when he wrestled Bryan Danielson, or better known nowadays as Daniel Bryan, in Ring of Honor. I think it was Ring of Honor. It was from 2003 versus a match that happened roughly 2 months ago. I forget what promotion it was. It was somewhere in Germany. I know that much. He has not missed a beat in over a decade, almost 2 decades. And he is 41 and still going at this level. It is insane to think about, and I cannot wait to see what Seema can do against Daniels, Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. So then we have, I'm assuming it's going to be the semi-main event, just because of the Alpha Omega, what are we at now? 2? 3? I don't even remember at this point. It's Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. Is essentially Cody saying that he wants to end the Attitude Era because, to be fair, outside of The Undertaker, really, Undertaker, Triple H, and Goldberg still wrestle on occasion for the right money. I'm not even going to talk about that stupid show going on in 2 weeks on Friday. I don't want to. I have zero interest. It's just a show that should not exist in general. But it's very nice to see Cody versus Dustin. And aside from Triple H, Undertaker, and Goldberg, Dustin is really the last guy from the Attitude Era around. He's the last, for lack of a better term, fossil of the Attitude Era. It's going to be very interesting to see just what Dustin can still do. We haven't seen him since double knee surgery. He quietly left the WWE, and now he's in AEW. But if they're going to start building up the young guys, and Cody's not a young guy by any means anymore. He's an established veteran. If they're going to start building him up, and I think Cody could be a big deal in AEW, this is the issue, because you have the wrestlers as the higher ups, but they're still wrestling. Them being higher ups, are they going to veto a lot of like, I don't want to do the job to this guy. I don't want a job to this guy. I don't want to lose this guy. If it's like something that's going to damage your reputation, yeah, I understand that. But if it's like doing the job for like Brian Pillman Jr. or Jimmy Havoc, you should have no problem with it. But these guys running their own company is going to be very interesting to see just how much they want to let other people shine and not just them. If it's just the elite shining, then I don't care how many millions of dollars you throw at me. I'm leaving because I don't have a chance to shine. It's a tough call, but it's got to be Cody. It's their first show. He was the big deal behind this. Cody's winning, I think. We're going to see a great match between two brothers, but it'll be interesting to see what, like I said, exactly what Goldust, Dustin Rhodes, whatever he wants to be called nowadays, what he can do still. Because double knee surgery is hard to come back from. Kevin Owens had the same surgery. He's looked great since returning. Can Goldust, Dustin Rhodes do the same? I am very curious to see, and I'm very excited to see. Which leads us to what will probably be the main event, I'm assuming. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. Winner goes against the Casino Battle Royal winner at probably Fight for the Fallen for the All Elite Wrestling Championship. It's a story I've been following since Wrestle Kingdom 13. You have Chris Jericho, who's one of the best wrestlers ever, versus Kenny Omega. Jericho has an IWGP title shot, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship title shot against Okada at Dominion on the 9th of June. Omega doesn't really have much else. He's probably going to be in the G1. I've heard he has a contract where he can go back to New Japan as he likes, but it's really tough to see just how much involvement he'll have in New Japan from now on. But with just how big this company is, you probably want the best wrestler in the world to have a shot at the first championship for this promotion. So I'm picking Omega. I'm expecting another great match between two of the best wrestlers ever. And it'll be very interesting to see simply because of the fact that these guys are starting to get to know each other inside and out. What exactly do they have left that they could just catch the other person with? Yeah, you're going to see your fair share of V-triggers. You're going to see your fair share of Jericho chops and Jericho swearing, which is fantastic to see, to be fair. Jericho has said he's debuting a new finisher. I don't know what it is. He hasn't teased much about it just yet. But he said it's going to be something different. No more code breaker. No more lion salt finisher. Walls of Jericho will probably still be a thing, but it's essentially whatever that finisher is versus the one-winged angel. Kenny's going to hit the one-winged angel and win. It's Kenny Omega. He's the best wrestler walking the planet today. And it's very hard to argue that statement. So now we're going to get into Money in the Bank, but first let's talk about the 24/7 title. I've seen many people describe it like this, and it's true. This is the only way you can describe this title. Fantastic concept. It looks like garbage. It makes the Universal title look good. I've hated the Universal title from the get-go. I like the Universal title now compared to the 24/7 championship. Maybe that was the goal. Maybe it was something like that. I don't know. But it'll be good, I think. They just need to actually take the time to understand what they're actually doing with it. And I have seen people throw out this idea, and I really like this idea. So say after a month, you take... Because this title is going to change hands pretty damn frequently. You take the top 4 times people have held the title. So you had Titus O'Neil won the championship for the first time. He held the title for 15 seconds, roughly. Bobby Roode held it for I'd give him 20 minutes, 25 maybe. R-Truth held it for 3 days, 4 days. Let's see, he won it Monday. It's Thursday. He's held it for 4 days. Soon 4 days, not exactly 4 days. So say you'd have those three, and whoever takes the title from Truth right now, you'd have those four. You put them in a match where the winner gets a chance at another championship, whether it's Intercontinental or US, and that way you can start to build up new stars. So say the fourth person is. I'm trying to think of everybody. Say the fourth person is Cedric Alexander. Say he holds that title. And then you have a match. It would be Titus O'Neil, Robert Roode, R-Truth, and Cedric Alexander. Winner gets a shot at the Intercontinental or US title. I would really enjoy that stipulation, especially a match between Cedric and Rey Mysterio. I would pay to see that, please, WWE. What I'm very curious about is what is going to be the next step. Like, give me a reason to be invested in this title. They've said anyone is eligible. I really thought Carmelo was going to turn on Truth on SmackDown to win the title. And then you do have to factor in the women's division and all that, but let's not even think about that, really. It'll be... I'm not trying to diss the women's division like that, but if you want to go with like the top 4 times, I guess it could work. It's a whole deal with the sponsors where WWE wants to have intergender stuff. They would love to do it. There's a reason Nia Jax attacked R-Truth and took his spot in the Rumble. But if the sponsors don't want intergender wrestling, you kind of have to listen or you risk losing the sponsorship. So it's a tough thing. WWE is in the right with a lot of things going on right now. They want to do intergender wrestling. Sponsors say no, they can't do it. They want to keep the brand split. The networks of USA and Fox have said we want the brand split to end. That's why there's this dumb wild card rule that's stupid and I hate it. It wouldn't be bad if they didn't use it 24/7. It would be good if they used it here and there. Like, you don't have to go all 4 spots be used in a week. You could go, oh, here's Wrestler X on Raw, but he's a part of SmackDown. And they don't show back up on Raw for like 2 weeks. There's just so much they need to fix. It's so complicated, and I don't want to think about it, really. There's a lot that needs to be fixed in WWE. What doesn't need to be fixed is Money in the Bank. That show was amazing. You had 2 good ladder matches. You had 2 great world title matches. You had a good... I'm trying to read through my notes really quickly. The cruiserweights looked good. Lacey Evans actually looked pretty good. So let's go and look through this card. It's been 30 minutes, so might as well. The pre-show match between the Usos and Daniel Bryan and Rowan, like I said, was not for the SmackDown Live Tag Team titles. Why did I say SmackDown Live? I hate that name. It's just SmackDown. It was not for the titles. The Usos won because this is where you should draw the line. You can hit with the wild card rule, kind of tying back to the last point. You can have people come over from the shows, but they can't win that show's championships. So, like, the WWE, the Intercontinental, the SmackDown Tag, and the SmackDown Women's Championships are safe on SmackDown. The Universal, US, Raw Tag, and the Raw Women's are all safe on Raw. You can't have somebody going back and forth challenging for both titles and having something like that. You want to kind of have this separation because the brand split, there's a reason people like Becky Lynch, Andrade, Finn Balor, there's a reason you're going to see them on TV. They have time. If the brand split ended, You can take that time, throw it out the window. It's not there anymore. You already have people who are pissed off with the company and want to leave. If you get rid of the brand split, a whole lot more are going to get pissed off of the company and want to leave. You don't want that. So, back to the match itself. It was pretty good. It was a nice little thing to warm up the crowd. It was actually a really, really good crowd in, I think it was Hartford. I'm going to say Hartford. Somebody check that, please, and let me know. Nice little fast, not necessarily fast-paced, but faster paced than you would have thought. The Usos look good because they're the Usos. Bryan and Rowan look good because they're actually a really good team. And the next night, the Usos actually did the right thing and lost to the Revival, which, good for them. Very, very happy to see that. The women's Money in the Bank. A lot to break down, but let's hit on some key points. The crowd loved Nikki Cross. Nikki looked great in this match. They just were eating her up with every little thing she did. And I'm very curious with now with this reaction, plus the Women's Royal Rumble reaction Nikki Cross got when she came out, where do they go next? If Alexa Bliss is medically cleared, I'm not a doctor. I don't have inside reports. I don't trust injury reports unless I see pictures of superstars in hospital beds. Get well soon, Ruby Riott. Now we know why she didn't get a spot. If I don't see something like that, then I don't trust injury reports. But if Alexa Bliss does have a concussion, she's probably not going to wrestle for at least another 2 weeks or so, I'd assume, depending on the severity of it. And it seems like they're kind of pushing a Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss tag team. I've already said have it be called Twisted Sister, where it's like they're a team, but it's like a twist on the rock band name, which I thought was a great idea. Or Twisted Blister. I kind of like that too. So yeah, it's gonna be very it's gonna be very interesting to see where Nikki Cross goes from here. Naomi had a couple of nice moments. I remember there was a moment where Natalya had Carmella, and like she had the legs, like she was gonna go for the sharpshooter, like she always does. But instead she did one of the moves where she leans back and the other wrestler goes over their head and sent Carmella into a ladder. She wanted to do the same with Naomi, and instead Naomi, who's I guess a little more agile than Carmella, I believe she is anyway, jumps onto the ladder, and then Natalya got up and turned around and got Enziguri in the face. And then she also had the moment where I know Bayley and Nikki Cross were involved. I want to say it was Mandy Rose, and it wasn't Carmella, because this was when she went to the back. It might have been Natalya again, where they had the two ladders, and Naomi was right in the middle, and they're like, well, we're going to sandwich her. And she just did the split below them. Naomi's a fantastic wrestler, and she doesn't get used enough as it is, which is a shame. But when your wrestler has a showing like this, you have to think, okay, maybe they're going to be used a little more. But we can't be the judge of that. We could always be wrong, and we never see that person ever again. Like Evan Bourne. I miss Evan Bourne. Matt Sydal, please come back. Ember Moon, she looked okay. She didn't have as good of a showing as last year, but she did have a decent showing. She had a couple of nice moves. The biggest move was the Eclipse off the ladder. I even put on Twitter, I think a couple of weeks before the show, I would love to see Ember Moon hit Eclipse off of a ladder. And I was right. So apparently WWE reads my tweets. So, hi Vince, how you doing? But Ember played it safe, which I don't mind. So there's always that one wrestler who, in a big match like this, kind of fades to the back, and you don't see too much of them. You always see it. You see enough to be impressed, but you don't see as much of them as you would have thought going in. And I'm curious, is Ember going to be one of the first challengers for Bailey? Or is this going to be the rise of Ember and she's going to be the one to beat Bailey at whatever the last pay-per-view of the year is? I don't even know anymore. Maybe Royal Rumble and we finally get Asuka versus Ember Moon at WrestleMania with Bailey versus Charlotte in a normal singles match maybe, or Bailey versus Sasha. Like I really want to see if WWE can stop being mean to Sasha. It'll be interesting to see how they book Ember going forward, especially considering she's in a stacked women's division right now. The seeds were planted for Carmella versus Mandy, but I don't know how far we're gonna go with this. They had a match on SmackDown that was interrupted with the guys chasing the 24/7 championship with R-Truth. There was a weird point where there was the ladder opened up and Carmella had her leg in between the open ladder legs, and she was like reaching forward to pick it up. Mandy kicked the ladder. Carmella's knee actually went the wrong way. Or no, her ankle went the wrong way, and her knee went the other way. And after that, Mandy was trying to grab her off the rope, and you could actually hear Carmella saying, "Get away." I don't know if that was planned at the spot or if that was like just kind of an injury that happened. And in Mandy's head, she was kind of probably thinking, okay, we just did this move, now it's on to the next. Because this is still Mandy's 4th year as a pro wrestler. Same with Sonya Deville. They've only been doing this for 4 years. So she's not as adept as somebody like Natalya, who's been doing this for God knows how long. But it still looked interesting enough, and there's enough to go off of after this, where they could build it up to be its own match. They could build it up as a whole feud. They could just say, we don't care anymore. That's how WWE is nowadays. I would like to see the feud. It would be very interesting. But the question would be, how do we get to the eventual story that we're all going to be seeing at some point? Sonya turning on Mandy. Sonya Deville looked amazingly strong. She was like trying to get Mandy back in the ring, like get conscious or whatever the term was after Carmella's super kick, and after Sonya pulled her off the ladder and speared her. So instead of just having Mandy wake up and climb the ladder, Sonya Deville picked her up on her shoulders, had her in the fireman's carry, walked up the ladder with Mandy Rose on her shoulders. Mandy's, I'm going to guess 125 pounds. Doing that, carrying another human being is tough enough, but carrying a full-grown adult human being up a ladder on your back is very challenging. I don't know how Deville did it, but she looked really damn strong. I literally have in my notes Natalya was Natalya. Natalya is always the wrestler where it's like, she's solid, she's good. She's not great, but she's good. She's always looking amazing in the ring. It's just she's missing that one thing, and it's always annoying when it's like that. There's one thing missing from taking you from the good level to the great level. Natalya seems to be one of those people that's stuck on the good level, which is a damn shame. But let's talk about somebody who I didn't think would look as good as they did. Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke looked really good in this match. She had her fair share of moments. I especially liked the part where there was two people fighting over a ladder, and they were like, "This is mine. No, this is mine. This is mine." And Dana just went up at like, "I'll go. I'll do it." And there was the scary spot where Dana has the briefcase on top of the ladder with Mandy Rose, and she just kind of starts swinging and kicking her feet. Even Mandy looked like she was like, "Oh God, don't kick me in the head. I don't want you to fall and lose your balance." It was very scary, and Dana actually had a couple of other impressive spots I'm probably forgetting. But it was nice to see. She showed that she belongs with the other women in this division. I'm very curious to see if they're going to do anything about this, but it was nice to see at least on one night Dana Brooke looked good. kind of like last year on one night, Lana looked good. So, Money in the Bank can make you look good, folks. And it's a fun pay per view. I love the pay per view concept of it. But if they book Dana Brooke good going forward, I'll be very happy to see it. I would like that a lot. Let's talk about the winner, though. Bayley. She looked good. She was kind of like Ember Moon. She didn't do a whole lot. She didn't do, flips off of ladders. She didn't do swanton bombs through tables on ladders. She didn't do all the suicide dives you always see in these matches. She didn't do all the impressive moves. She did just enough. Like Ember Moon. And it was enough because she won the briefcase. I'm not mad that she won the briefcase. I'm very happy Bayley won the briefcase. It showed that maybe they're finally actually going to invest in Bayley, who is the most criminally underused 4 horsewoman in WWE. And I look at it as it could be out of spite for Charlotte. It could also be, not Charlotte, Sasha. But it could also be them saying, we like you. We want to actually do you right finally. And I'm happy if that's the case. And I'm still mad. Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose were up there grabbing the briefcase. You're going to tell me they couldn't feel the ladder shaking and Bayley was climbing up it? If you watch it back, that ladder is moving when Bayley is climbing it. It's not like they can't feel that. It's so stupid to see. You just have 2 women looking up at a briefcase like, yes, grab that, and you see a ladder shaking back and forth as Bayley's climbing it. It's so annoying. But it was still a great match. I really enjoyed it. Good start to the main show. The U.S. title match afterwards, though, was weird. It was Joe versus Mysterio, and from everything I've heard, it was not supposed to go that short. They went short because of either A, the blood, or B, Joe broke his nose. I like to go with B more often. A is dumb. Blood happens. It's not like he cut an artery. But if it's a broken nose, you don't want to do anything with a broken nose, and I understand that completely. I look at this as them not saying, we don't like Joe. We don't want to invest in Joe. I look at this as them saying, we want to protect Samoa Joe. Because after Brock Lesnar failed, spoilers for later, after Brock Lesnar fails to cash in on Seth Rollins needs a big heel to go against. After Baron Corbin, who's the next big heel? Because Drew's not going to win the title just yet. It's going to be Samoa Joe. I am all down for an old school Tyler Black Samoa Joe match, and please book that. Somebody. But Rey Mysterio finally has won every single title that he possibly could have. He's a former Cruiserweight, Intercontinental. Now he's the U.S. He's won the tag titles. He's won the World Heavyweight Championship. He's won the WWE Championship. The only thing that he hasn't won, really, is Money in the Bank, an Elimination Chamber match, and the Universal title. I could maybe see him winning one of those. I could see him winning Money in the Bank at maybe next year's show, which would be very interesting. The Steel Cage match, people liked it. I was kind of in the minority where I thought it could have been a little bit better if it just had a little bit more time. I'm also one of those people who are tired of Shane McMahon wrestling every single pay-per-view. He still has not missed a pay-per-view. He's probably not going to miss a pay-per-view until SummerSlam. And it's so annoying. It's like, give this opportunity to the other guys. Give it to the young guys. The guys that are trying to prove that they belong in that ring with those same stars. It's just, please do something right by these guys. I did like the finish. It was a little something different where Miz was trying to grab Shane to pull him in. They actually used Shane being sweaty 24/7 as an intricate part in the match where Shane just slipped out of his shirt. Also, that was a scary fall. Shane's not a young guy. Shane fell pretty much with nothing that could have stopped him all the way down the cage. And that was scary to see for me, at least. that match just didn't do it for me, to be fair. I would have liked to see Miz win, finally end the story on a good note. But now it's like, oh, it's it's Miz by himself and Roman versus Shane. Why? Can we please stop with Shane McMahon? Tired of it. Let Miz do Miz. I want to see Miz wrestle. The Cruiserweights did make the main show. It was nice to see. I'm so happy. And they look good. Tony Nese and Ariya Daivari looked really good. It's a shame people just use it as the bathroom break match. It kind of felt like the bathroom break match, but it's like you have two guys who have worked incredibly hard to get to this point in their career, and they're just like out there having a great match, doing a good job. And people are just like, oh, we're going to go to the bathroom, get a refill on our drinks, get some more popcorn, or whatever you did. I enjoyed that match. When you see something you haven't seen in a long time, it's nice to see. And I'm talking about when Daivari had Nese outside of the ring, and he had his head going across the top rope. Daivari's whole offense was based around Nese's eyeballs, which is really different, really interesting. And of course, Nese and Daivari are the two of the cruiserweights who aren't going to be the guys that are flying around the ring like crazy, like we might see with Nese versus Zawa. I would like to see that a lot. Because Nese can fly if he needs to. He's got a beautiful 450. I know he has a shooting star in his back pocket. But he doesn't do it if he doesn't need to. Against Tozawa, he might, because Tozawa is the next number one contender. But against Daivari, he didn't really need it. He had the 450. The 450 looked great. And, of course, the running Nese is always nice to see. I have a lot of hopes for the Cruiserweight division. I love the Cruiserweights. It's a shame they're on right after SmackDown. I keep saying move them to Full Sail. Put them on Full Sail. And everyone's just like, no, they're going to be after SmackDown, and you got to watch another hour of wrestling. What if I want to watch an hour of wrestling before NXT on Wednesdays? Blech. Yeah, Wednesdays. Or you could have it on Thursday, and everyone's like, oh, cool, we can watch this now. And then when AEW starts on Tuesdays on TNT, you can go Raw, AEW, NXT, and NXT UK, 205 Live, SmackDown. Possibly pay-per-views on Saturday and Sunday. It would be a good lineup. I would really like that. But people just don't understand this. It's like, come on, folks. Like I said, Lacey Evans looked good in her match with Becky Lynch. The weird thing going on all night was officiating. It was in the Joe versus Mysterio match where Joe's shoulder rose up because that match was supposed to keep going, but they had to stop it, and Joe didn't understand that. So that was, you can kind of chalk that one up to bad communication. There was the bit in Miz versus Shane, where Miz hit the skull crushing finale on a chair, and Shane got his foot on the rope to break up the pinfall. The commentators were confused as to what was going on, and that shouldn't happen. Jimmy Corderas, an old WWE referee, put on Twitter that not necessarily rope breaks, but when wrestlers get their foot on the rope during a pinfall, still counts in a steel cage match. So, like, if Miz had on a figure four and Shane grabbed the ropes like he did earlier in the match, you don't count with them getting to the ropes to force a break. If it's a pinfall, that still counts. So, it was just a bad thing that the commentators didn't understand that. What I understand is there was the point where Lacey had Becky pinned in a weird position, and the referee was checking. The referee just might not have seen the shoulder down. Like, Becky's shoulder blade might have been up, so that's why he didn't count it. But then as soon as he went to the other side, the blade goes down, and then I was like, oh, he should have been counting 2 seconds ago. And then Becky reversed it into the disarm her, And Lacey had the most unenthusiastic tap out ever. It was just like bet, 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 bet. It wasn't like those fast paced tap outs you see. It was just like, I'm just tapping the mat, and this is annoying. Stop it, Lacey, please. Everything else she did looked really good. She was a good heel. She looked like a good heel. I'm just hoping they don't put the title on her just yet. There might be a rematch at Stomping Ground. Very curious to see about that. But just don't put the title on her just yet. Let her continue to improve and get better. Maybe her and Charlotte are a team. Which then you could understand the wild card rule too if you have tag teams in the women's division because of the. It's weird because they have a lack of depth problem, but they also have too much depth as a problem. If you use like Charlotte and Lacey as a team, that way the wild card rule could work for that. Because you're already going to have the tag team champions showing up on both shows. Yeah, Lacey looked good. And then Charlotte was right afterwards, which I get, even if you're not like thinking about it from a booking standpoint. If you have two matches, you probably want them back to back. You don't want to have one match go cool down, and then warm back up for a second match. Your body's already going to be sore enough. Just get the second one out of the way. And Charlotte versus Becky this one was okay. It was okay. It wasn't the greatest one. That, to me, will still be the Evolution match. It wasn't the worst one. That's probably some house show in, like, Nebraska, maybe. But it wasn't the best one. Charlotte won off of a big boot. That's the most disappointing finish I've ever seen. You have Becky Two Belts, somebody you've built up to be this next mega star, and she loses with against a big boot. Not even natural selection. A big boot. Something a common wrestling fan can do themselves. WWE, you frustrate me so much. It's annoying from that aspect. And then there was the post-match beatdown with Lacey and Charlotte on Becky. Bayley came out to make the save. Part of me was really hoping it'd be Sasha that came out. That would have been really cool. And Bayley eventually cashed in on beat down Charlotte, hit the diving elbow, and Bayley is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. Which, if this is how they wanted to do it, they wanted the championship on Bayley, but they didn't want Bayley to be the one to beat Becky because that would take all the love and support from Bayley and take that away because she beat Becky, who a lot of other people, and a lot of the same people who love Bayley, love and support Becky. So if you have Bayley beat Becky, you take the people who love and support Bayley, take them away because they wanted to see Becky retain. But you put the title on Charlotte, who everybody hates, not because she's bad, because she's just the champion every single freaking week. You put the title on Charlotte, and you have Bayley cash in, then it makes sense, and you have the title move from Becky to Bayley with Charlotte as the middleman. Which I don't mind. That was fine. My issue is this is 2 years in a row that the women have cashed in on the same night. Why does this need to be a thing? Don't cash in on the same night. That ruins the whole thought of when could they cash in, what's going to happen, what could it be. So say next year when, I don't know, maybe Liv Morgan wins the Women's Money in the Bank briefcase, she's going to cash in on the same night and win the title. It's so dumb to me. There's a reason Carmella held the briefcase for 200 plus days. Maybe even 300. I don't even know the exact number of days. It's just annoying when they have someone cash in right away. It takes away the whole surprise. Takes away the whole thing. Especially with who won the men's Money in the Bank. There's no surprise anymore. It's just like, oh, hey, they're Money in the Bank. What's the whole point of the briefcase if not picking the right opportunity? Yes, Bayley got lucky and this was the right opportunity, but what if the right opportunity wasn't at Money in the Bank? Bayley cashes in and loses, and say the right opportunity happens at Stomping Grounds, and Bayley could have cashed in then. Build up the suspense. Build up the briefcase. There's a reason when Edge won the briefcase in 2000, whenever the hell it was, at WrestleMania 21, he waited so long, and people were like, when is he going to cash this in? How does this work? He cashed it in. He showed everybody how it works, and everyone was like, oh my god, I get it. when you cash in on the same night, you take away that suspense. You take away the unknown. And it's just like, why should we care that they just won the briefcase? It didn't take away from a great match, but it's just like, why do you have to cash in the same night? It's annoying to me at least. I know a couple of people were annoyed by it, but at least to me it was annoying. Reigns squashed Elias. It was a shame because Elias is so good. He sang a good song about Hartford being stupid. He used an electric guitar because he smashed the acoustic over Roman. If he was smart, he would have smashed the electric on Roman because plastic hurts more than wood. I know that for a fact. I don't, and please do not quote me on that. Not much really to say. It was Roman Reigns doing Roman Reigns things. It was also kind of like a nice little mini break where you just had Bayley, the emotional high of Bayley winning. You get a little cool down period with Reigns destroying Elias. And then you see maybe the first 5-star match in a long time in WWE where AJ Styles challenged Seth Rollins for the Universal title where Seth Rollins retained. With this match, it might be the first main roster 5-star match since John Cena versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank 2011. It just might be because this match had a little bit of everything. It took a little bit to get going, but most matches do. And then when it started going, everything just clicked. You saw a seamless transition. You saw great combinations. You saw everything you wanted to see in a wrestling match here. Especially, you look at AJ Styles, and he's a guy who doesn't have many years left. He has said it himself. He can still put out match quality like this. There's just so much to talk about in this match. The Ushigoroshi looked great from Styles to Rollins. When Rollins hit the inverted suplex into the inverted Falcon Arrow, that was really damn impressive. If you think taking a person over is tough, try just picking them up, throwing them over your head, rolling through and picking them up again and throwing them down. It's hard, especially when AJ is a 200-plus pound guy. And then you look at the first stomp attempt where AJ pushed him up into the Styles Clash. If you think the push-up into the RKO was impressive, the push-up into the Styles Clash doubled that. And then you had Rollins hit the stomp. The whole time I thought during this match, where's Lesnar? When's Lesnar coming out? When is Brock Lesnar going to be here? He never showed up yet. It was a great match through and through. There was so much good about this match. And you had I put this on Twitter too for Things Combat. You had 2 Ring of Honor guys following the Code of Honor, shaking hands, and just being good sports. It was very nice to see, and I'm very excited to see not where Rollins goes after this. I kind of know where Rollins is going after this, but where AJ Styles goes after this. There was a rumor going around today that AJ Styles might be going against Baron Corbin at Super Showdown. I mean, I wouldn't not see that happening. I think it could happen, especially with Rollins facing Lesnar again. But it'll be interesting. Does he go after the U.S. title again? Styles versus Mysterio would be money. And then you could, either way, whoever's champion at that point would be able to help elevate and build up another younger guy, which would be very nice to see. Lars Sullivan had a segment. Again, another just break thing. Owens versus Kingston was really good, really entertaining. It's weird because I thought Kofi... I really had a tough time picking this because I thought they might just see Kofi as like a bad of the month type of champion. But he's still so over with everybody. Excuse me. I'm curious as to who is really going to take the title off of him. It has to be a big monster heel. On SmackDown, your choices are Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, now Dolph Ziggler. That's really it for like big bad heels. You can throw Andrade in there, but I think he's going to be busy in the Intercontinental title mix for a little bit. What I am curious about is where Owens goes now. He lost the triple threat at Fastlane, wasn't on WrestleMania, lost the Money in the Bank. What's left? Where does he go next? What could he do? It's tough because he's such a great wrestler. He's fantastic in the ring. But I don't see him going for the IC title just yet. I don't see him essentially, taking a step back, for lack of a better term. I see him maybe like a small thing with somebody. Again, SmackDown has all his talent, but you've got to be able to juggle it just right. I could see Kofi losing it a stomping ground. I have heard Owens versus Kingston versus Ziggler. Of those three, Owens does make the most sense, but it's a tough call. There's a lot of good spots in this match. Where they both went for their finishers a couple times. It started with Kingston going for the Trouble in Paradise, Owens ducking that, going for the Stunner, Kofi getting out of that, going for SOS, and then Owens pushed out of that, and I think he hit the pop-up powerbomb, and you could see everyone was like, no, this can't be how it ends. Thankfully, that isn't how it ends. At one point, Kevin Owens threw Kofi Kingston's shoe at Byron Saxton. I love that so much. Can you just do it for the rest of time, Kevin? Please? It was so funny. People give a lot of crap to Corey Graves about being a bad commentator. He's just doing his part. He's doing his job, but Byron Saxton is just like somebody who doesn't get it, for lack of a better term. It's like he knows he's supposed to cheer for the good guys and say the bad guys suck, but he's always just like super into the good guy, and it's like, calm down. Be like Corey and be like, okay, I understand this, but what about this? Unless it's Alexa Bliss or Mandy Rose. And then our main event, Kingston won after hitting a, not barefoot, a pink-socked Trouble in Paradise, which actually probably would hurt a lot more because that's closer to the bone, and you get that bone in your face. Oof. That would not feel nice. Our main event was the men's Money in the Bank. This one was crazy. It was good. It was great. It might be the best Money in the Bank match we've seen in a little while. And then the ending. Let's break down some of the spots. Andrade hits a sunset flip powerbomb onto a ladder he had wedged into an open ladder with Finn Balor. After Balor hits that ladder, he jumps about 5 feet in the air, hits the ladder again. That can't have felt good. Baron Corbin hits a backbreaker on Finn Balor on an open ladder. Randy Orton puts Ricochet, Ali, and Finn Balor almost through the announce table. What else was there? Drew McIntyre just threw Ricochet through a ladder by his ears, it looked like. Ricochet had what might have been a suicide dive. I think it was a suicide dive into a deep six. And then as soon as Corbin got up, McIntyre hits him with the Claymore kick. Ali hit a Spanish fly on Andrade off of a ladder. Orton RKO'd McIntyre off of a ladder. Now that I think about it, the only person that might not have actually gone up a ladder in the match was Baron Corbin. Which is really weird to think about. So some notes. McIntyre looked monstrous like he's supposed to. He just throwing all the small guys around, picking on the little guys, and just looking like a big bad heel throughout the whole thing. This is my biggest question from the show. How is Finn Balor not injured? He's probably hurting, but he's not injured, which is a miracle to think about. He took all these crazy bumps, and he's not hurt. Oh my God, Finn. What do you eat that makes it so that doesn't happen? Um, and he was, to me, the longest of long shots to win the match, simply because he already has a title. He doesn't need the briefcase for it. Ricochet just flying around, doing all these crazy things. It's fun to see. One of these days, we're going to see a 630 off of a ladder. One of these days, we might see another double moonsault from Ricochet. I'd love to see that. That would be fun. I would like that a lot. Andrade did just enough. He didn't do too much. He didn't do too little. You got that hint of what he can do. What he did in CMLL as a member of Los Ingobernables with his old buddy Roosh and Tetsuya Naito. He looked good. He didn't do everything in the book, but he did what he needed to do. He probably was the guy that felt the best coming out of that match. He didn't do too much involving ladders. He didn't do too many huge high-risk moves. And he probably woke up the next day feeling the most refreshed, whereas like Finn Balor is getting out of bed, can't feel his back or something. I shouldn't laugh at that, but that's probably what I'm imagining. Balor just gets up and is like, I don't want to move. My back hurts too much. And everybody knocks Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin looked really good in this match. He was the guy who was directing traffic. They're trying to destroy all these little guys. Because after McIntyre and him, there's all these smaller guys in the ring. And technically, excuse me again, Randy Orton is one of those smaller guys. He's 6'3", whereas he was 6'6" and a 6'7" monster. McIntyre and Corbin, they're not going to care about 6'3". But Corbin looked like a good heel in this match. He turned on his partner. He turned on McIntyre. He prevented everybody's favorite guys trying to win the briefcase because he wanted it himself. And people are going to say, oh, you shouldn't book Baron Corbin well going forward. I think you should book Baron Corbin to look very good. He's going to be a big player for a couple years. People need to get used to it. And I will defend this guy to the death. He is better than you make him out to be. If you look at NXT Corbin was great. If we can get NXT Corbin on the main roster, this would be something to see. Orton is a lot like Natalya. He was there. He did his part. He didn't do too much. But what he did do was important. His RKO to McIntyre left the ladder open for Ali. He got his comeuppance from somebody off of a ladder. But talking about Ali. So, if rumors are to be believed, before the whole Lesnar thing, Ali was supposed to win that match. Which makes the most sense to me. You have in that match, let me think. You had 4 guys who could probably get a world title shot no matter what. Balor, Orton, McIntyre, and Corbin. Andrade would be the person to take the Intercontinental title off of Balor. Ricochet is he's still relatively new. So that's why you wouldn't think he would get a world title shot if he wanted one. He might be a guy in the mid-card that they continue to build up now. Especially with the match he had against Cesaro on Raw. Going forward, he might be one to watch, which would be very interesting. I was disappointed they didn't have a replacement for Sami Zayn at first. But Ali looked good. He had the Spanish Fly. He went through the announce table, bounced off of an announce table. He stood up to the big bully that was Randy Orton. And I am very, very, very excited for where Ali's future is going to go. He's been somebody flirting with that main event scene for a little while. He came in, he immediately challenged Bryan in a tag match. He eventually pinned Bryan himself. He was supposed to be in the Elimination Chamber. Due to concussion, he was out, which is how Kofi Mania got started. He looked good in the Rumble. He looked good in the Battle Royal at Mania. He's looked good this whole year. And now people are going to finally be saying, Ali should be in the main event. And I'm completely there with you. I believe Ali should be there. He is ready for it. But let's talk about that winner. Brock Lesnar. I both love and hate this. Let's talk about the love part first. It's that unpredictability. Nobody knew who was replacing Sami Zayn, if anybody was replacing Sami Zayn. It turns out it's Brock Lesnar. People hate it. But you wouldn't have thought about Lesnar. I was talking to the other guys during the pay-per-view. I had a list of wrestlers who it could be. I had like EC3, Titus O'Neil, Cesaro, Cedric Alexander. I had these guys on the list of people who could replace Sami Zayn. Lo and behold, it's Brock Lesnar who wasn't even on that list. He is a big draw. He's a big fight draw. It's something that you wouldn't have thought about at first. But now that it's happened, you're thinking about it, it makes sense going forward, because if you have wrestlers who don't want to go to Saudi Arabia, like a lot of them don't, but it's a big match, it's big money, and Brock's a big money guy, there's the match. He's probably not going to win the title. I feel like 95% confident in that part. But it's like that little bit of doubt in your mind, like, could he legit win this title? It's enough to make you wonder, and that's what they want you to do. But the reason I don't like this is because of the fact that you have a guy who's won many world championships before. Money in the Bank is supposed to be about building somebody up for the future. Building up the next star. The likes of Edge, RVD, CM Punk, Jack Swagger, Daniel Bryan, Alberto Del Rio. You build up these guys to be the next faces of the company, and you just give the briefcase to a guy who's a former face of the company. That doesn't make sense to me. It's so weird and annoying and not what I wanted to see. And I'm stuck in like this weird little purgatory about it. But I don't think a bad ending should be what people remember from a great pay-per-view. WWE has been getting these big shows right this year. There hasn't been a bad big show yet. Royal Rumble was good. Elimination Chamber was good. Fastlane was good. WrestleMania was good. And Money in the Bank was good. They're on a roll with their special shows on Sundays. And I'm curious if this can continue. It's just that bad taste is sitting in everybody's mouth at the end of that show. And it's like, what are you going to do about it? There's so much that you could do. There's so much that they can do. There's so much they're not going to do. But I'm more curious with why they did this with the briefcases, because now you don't have that surprise as a cash-in. Bayley's already cashed in, and Brock's announcing who he's cashing in on Monday. It's going to be Seth Rollins, folks. I'm sorry. We're getting Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston. That's going to be a good one. Those two have great chemistry together. But you look at it, it's like there's no suspense. There was no point to this year's Money in the Bank now. The briefcase is already done. You're not going to see them for a whole nother year. And it's just annoying to me. Like, I like that part of, like, when they can cash in. There's a reason when Damian Sandow cashed in, you were like, wait, what, really? And he actually looked good in that match against Cena when he cashed in. But it's just like, there's no drama this year. There's no suspense. There's no reason to want to look forward to it. And to be fair, I still am in the majority that kept their network subscription, because I'm not going to be somebody who overreacts about stuff. People actually cancel their network subscription because the guy they didn't want to win, the guy they wanted to win the match didn't win the match. There's a reason the video games exist, folks. I'm not going to be somebody who always criticizes somebody else's point of view for wrestling. But if your person didn't win, that happens. Nobody is perfect. There's a reason Goldberg never had a perfect record throughout his entire career. Same with Asuka. Same with Undertaker at WrestleMania. People don't always win. You have to have some losses along the way to build the character. You have to continue to build people up so that way you can have these future stars like Ali, like Andrade, Finn Balor, Drew McIntyre. You have to build these guys up, and this match did that. You got to see these guys shine and thrive. This was only Finn Balor's second main event of pay per view. This was Ali's first. This was Drew McIntyre's first. This was Baron Corbin's third, I want to say. He main evented in the 2016 Money in the Bank. He main evented the 2019 Money in the Bank. 2017 Money in the Bank. 2019. Yeah, I think he had another one in there. The six-pack challenge for the WWE title at last year's Fastlane. You have these guys who don't have a lot of main event experience. They get the main event, and you get to see just how good these guys are. You don't cancel your network subscription over that. You don't cancel something that you pay a lot less than you're going to pay All Elite Wrestling for their pay-per-views. That you cancel that over something you don't like. You cancel something you pay $9.99 a month. You pay $10 a month for all the wrestling from WWE, from WCW, ECW, and whoever else they have tapes in the whole tape library from. You're throwing all that away because one guy won a match. Really? And here's the thing. If you're one of the people who did, good for you. You stuck it to the man. Great job. And I'm not just saying this to be sarcastic, but it's not something you should overreact about. But also, say you cancel your subscription and you're saying, oh, I'm going to go over to AEW. Don't do that. A, they don't have a streaming service yet. B, they're maybe a couple months away from even being the next big challenger to WWE. What you should do, if you do cancel your subscription, go to New Japan. You can see wrestlers you've probably heard about before. And you can see them thriving in New Japan. Which is very important because you look at New Japan, you have the biggest, best of the Super Juniors field ever, and you've had 5-star matches probably every night. You have had at least 3 match of the year contenders with Shingo Takagi versus Sho, Dragon Lee versus Sho, and there's probably a third one that I haven't seen yet. I heard El Phantasmo versus Will Ospreay was great, and it made Phantasmo a new star for New Japan. If that is the case, go to New Japan. They are where the action is at. You have some of the best wrestlers there. You have some of the best wrestlers in Ring of Honor. You have some in All Japan. You have some in Pro Wrestling Noah, Dragon Gate. You have all of these options. Don't limit yourself to just one with All Elite Wrestling. Even then, if you haven't left your network subscription, don't just limit yourself to one. Expand your horizon. Become somebody who just loves pro wrestling. You don't just love WWE. You don't just love Ring of Honor. You don't just love one company. You love pro wrestling. You pick and choose what you want to watch, yes. Like, for example, on WrestleMania weekend, I watched WrestleMania, TakeOver, the G1 Supercard, and I caught bits and pieces of a couple of the shows because I wanted to watch as much pro wrestling from that weekend as possible. Because this is a sport that I love. This is something I enjoy watching and talking about. I started this podcast for a reason. You don't overreact about something like this. This is just something dumb. It comes to pass. Dumb things have happened before. Goldberg lost his streak to a cattle prod. Okay? This isn't the end of the wrestling world. Brock winning Money in the Bank is a weird call. And it could work. It works because of this for me. Ali's been flirting with that main event scene since his call-up. He's had Daniel Bryan. He's teamed with AJ Styles. He's had great matches with Andrade. He had that month where he was out with a concussion. After that month, he's come back. He hasn't missed a beat. He has looked great. He is somebody they're going to get behind. This match was just the start of that. This is not the end of Ali's push. Ali is going to be a star in this company. And I will say this right now. Ali is a future world champion. It won't be this year, but from 2-3 years from now, Ali will be a world champion. This is something I feel is going to happen. It's something that will happen, and I am very excited to be along for the ride with it. I enjoyed Money in the Bank. I thought it was a great show, and I'm very excited to see where WWE goes from here after the whole stupid Saudi Arabia, for excuse my language, all the Saudi Arabia bullshit we got to deal with. But going forward, you still have Double or Nothing this weekend. You have Takeover the weekend after that. You have Dominion. You have Stomping Grounds coming up. You have the G1 Climax is getting closer and closer. You have the Best of the Super Juniors going on right now. You have all these other promotions having big time things. There's another tournament I saw on Twitter that I already forgot the name of, and I feel bad about it, but I don't have time to look it up because that's all the time I got for this episode. This has been the Armchair Armdrager podcast. I'm Ben Hurst. Thank you for sitting around and listening. If you enjoy what you hear, please hit subscribe. Please hit that like button. It helped me a lot. Leave a comment about anything you hear in this episode. You can leave a comment that's a question that I will get to in the next episode. Just leave any feedback you have. Twitters, I'm at, like I said at the beginning, I'm at Churro Solider. There's Things Combat that I write for, and this podcast can be found at Podcast Armchair on Twitter. Thank you guys for your time. I will see you next week where we will have another Best of the Super Juniors catch-up, which could be the last one. We will have Double or Nothing reactions, and we will have NXT TakeOver 25 predictions, and I will see you guys then.